Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, this video we're going to be looking at Disc Priest. How good are they? So Disc Priest is typically the king of preventative damage in WoW, and it has been for a long time. Between that and its atonement healing, it really has a unique healing playstyle, which is awesome. However, recently it kind of lost its edge. It really just fell off. It didn't do the healing, it wasn't preventing enough damage, it felt clunky to play. All of those things really led to it being in a really bad spot. Probably one of the worst spots they'd been in. Really, I can imagine. I can remember. But in 10.0.5, this received massive buffs to a point they're now doing seemingly well. So let's talk about it. Fun. This to me is one of the most fun healers that you could play in the game purely just for its uniqueness. It also has a really, because of its preventative gameplay, the kind of creating a healing plan and having that really having that good ramp up is one of the most rewarding things you could do as a healer. If you ramp up before a boss fight, you see everyone take half the amount of damage because you've got shields out, or you instantly penance with atonement on everyone just as damage goes out and their health just bounces straight back. It really is just so rewarding and so fulfilling. Um, Aside from that, it's almost a 50-50 DPS class. Like you can see in the footage, and this footage was recorded before the buffs actually. You constantly want to be casting. If that's not healing, then it's definitely damage. And even if it is healing, it's probably damage as well. I found a fun little mini game in trying to compete with people in damage on each by a pack by pack basis. You're not going to be able to do it every time. They have cooldowns and there are obviously DPS specs, but this certainly can kick out a really good amount of damage. Now, viability. Prior to 10.0.5, this would have been a very depressing segment, to be honest. However, Disc was, I mean, it just wasn't good. But they were still using a disc priest in Race to World First Kill, so it can't be that bad, right? Well, I'm going to use another game example here and talk about League of Legends. League of Legends, they have certain champions that we see in almost every tournament. However, when it gets to a public server, their win rate is so low that you could almost never play them. And Azir is a good example of this. And this is where Disc Priest was. In the hands of someone who truly knew how to play Disc Priest fantastically, they still held that role of being good at pre-shielding, pre-healing, and having being able to deal with heavy raid healing mechanics. And that's why we still saw them in Race to World First. However, now that the buffs to 10.0.5 have come in, I'd be very surprised if they aren't picked up in all areas of their content right now. In Mythic Plus, in different levels of Heroic and Mythic raiding. I genuinely think they're just going to be fantastic. So to talk about it, in the last week, Disc has jumped one position in Mythic Raids, taking the spot of Holy Pallies, to become the second last healer. However, this is still kind of expected. It's only been 4 days since the patch, and I'm looking at data from the last week. So obviously, there's a couple of days where they weren't buffed and no one was going to be playing them anyway, and there's obviously a little bit of data since. I think we'll get a really good picture of this over the next sort of week and a half, 2 weeks. But actually, I think they're in a good spot, and I think they will continue to rise a little bit. In Heroic Raids, it's a similar story. Jump in the Holy Pally to become the second last healer. However, in both scenarios, they are actually consistently the least represented healer. So I think they are going to be something where you bring one to a raid. You're never going to bring 3-4 Disc Priests, where you might bring 3-4 Evokers or Resto Druids. But overall, I think, like I said, we need a little bit more data to really get an idea of where they sit in the meta and how good they are. But yeah, in Mythic Plus, we've actually seen multiple Disc Priests healing 25 plus keys and a slight raise in their popularity just generally. I think as they become slightly more meta, their popularity will skyrocket a little bit more. But actually, I think they're in a good position. I don't think they need more buffs. I think they just need time to settle now. They need time to just figure out where they lie in the meta. So actually, the next week or so could be really interesting just watching them. And variants. I mean, come on, what more do you want? This didn't even have one good spec a minute ago, and now you want them to have two? Because they kind of do. They have a standard raid build built around these normal kind of long cooldown ramp windows where you're going to absolutely destroy one mechanic on every 2 minute cooldown, that sort of thing. And they now have this sort of squid build. I didn't name it, not my choice. It uses your Shadow Fiend, talented to a Mindbender, to turn it into a 1 minute cooldown that's reduced very heavily further by talents, to ramp a lot more frequently, but do less in these ramps. Either build is playable, and you'd probably have to pick which one suits you and your scenario best. However, the most common build currently is the Squid build. And in Mythic Plus, they pretty much only have one build, and that's the Squid build. So overall, I'm going to rate them. I feel a little bit bad at the moment just because they haven't had a chance to catch their feet. But for fun, I'm actually going to give them an 8 out of 10. I think they're one of the most unique and fun healers in the game currently. For viability, I'm going to say 7 out of 10, but that's to be determined. They could change massively. I mean, ultimately, if people figure some more things out or just get more comfortable with the spec, we could absolutely see them kind of jumping to meta healers. If they stay as they are, I think they're good enough to be played, but not meta, which is kind of around that 7 mark for me. And variants, I'm going to give them a 6 out of 10. They have a little bit of variance, but not anything major. And most people are playing the squid build in all content. So let me know what you guys think of the Disc Priest buffs. I think actually it's a really good change by Blizz. Another win for them in Dragonflight. I'm going to have to start using my toes soon because I'm struggling to count them on fingers. But overall, I think they're doing well. So, guys, thanks for watching and catch you later. Goodbye.